Hong Kong finds its way of life has changed under its new security law. Here we are again for another plain English lesson. I'm Jeff. JR is your producer, and this is lesson number 282. You can find the full lesson at plainenglish.com/282. Coming up today, we'll revisit the topic we discussed in lesson 270. At that time, China had announced it would impose a new national security law on Hong Kong. They did indeed do that, and Hong Kong has been living with that new law for about a month. Today's expression is a safe haven. We also have a quote of the week. It was worse than even many pessimists had feared. The Chinese government inserted a new national security law into Hong Kong's mini-constitution on the night of June 30th. Hong Kong's officials, let alone its citizens, had not seen the law until just hours before it took effect. The 18-page document immediately changes Hong Kong's way of life. Hong Kong has been living under an arrangement called One Country, Two Systems, which we talked about in lesson 270. The two systems refers to a more open, free society in Hong Kong, while mainland China is more tightly controlled by its Communist Party. The new law asserts Beijing's power over people who engage in sedition, subversion, acts of terrorism, things like that. Sedition is trying to organize people to rise up against a government. Subversion is trying to work against the interests of your government. Many countries have laws against such acts, including many democracies. The difference is the interpretation of the words. Hong Kongers are on notice that Beijing may interpret almost any negative message as subversion under the law. On the first day, police arrested a man for carrying a banner calling for independence for Hong Kong. A group of people at a shopping mall held up blank pieces of paper. Police came, told them they were in violation of the new national security law, arrested 8 people, searched others, and sent the rest home. Blank pieces of paper. Books by democracy activists have been removed from libraries. A public opinion polling agency published a survey that found 60% of residents no longer believe Hong Kong is a free city. As if to prove their point, police confiscated the computers of the polling agency, accusing them of dishonest use of computers. Students have been cautioned not to talk about political topics in school. Residents and shop owners have started tearing down posters and artwork that have innocent messages, fearing they will be accused of subversion. One cafe owner tore down artwork that said, "We create our own destiny," afraid that police would arrest her for subversion. She said she feels under constant pressure now, like there's an invisible hand over her mouth. The law allows Beijing to establish a special office of national security in Hong Kong. The law also permits China to send Hong Kong residents to mainland China to stand trial under the mainland criminal justice system, which has far fewer protections for defendants than the system Hong Kong has enjoyed. The law makes no distinction about the place in which a speaker is located. Foreign citizens who criticize Beijing could be arrested at any time in China or in Hong Kong. An activist could write pro-democracy articles in Canada, for example, and then be arrested while making a flight connection in the Hong Kong airport. Hong Kong has long been seen as a safe haven from mainland China's much more repressive political system. Academics, journalists, artists, and activists are all now reconsidering their ability to speak and act freely in Hong Kong. Many Western media companies have their Asian bureaus in Hong Kong. This is starting to worry media outlets. They fear that their independent journalism will fall foul of the new law in the future. The New York Times announced it would move its entire Asian digital staff, about 1/3 of its Asia headcount, from Hong Kong to Seoul, South Korea. Other media outlets are considering similar moves. The U.S. responded by revoking Hong Kong's special trading status. Under the previous arrangement, goods manufactured in Hong Kong were not subject to the same tariffs and restrictions as goods made on mainland China. Now, the practical effects of this will be limited since most of Hong Kong's exports are services like media and finance. The U.S. is exploring other options, including sanctions. The Australian government advised its citizens not to go to Hong Kong due to the new law. They also said they would extend the visas of any Hong Kongers currently in Australia, including many students, and they would offer a path to Australian citizenship. They suspended their extradition treaty with Hong Kong. China accused them of gross interference with their internal affairs. New Zealand also suspended its extradition treaty with Hong Kong. Britain is going a step further. Hong Kong had been a British colony until the UK handed sovereignty over Hong Kong to China in 1997. At the time, China agreed to maintain the one country, two systems model for 50 years. It kept its word for just 23. Britain feels a weight of responsibility for the fate of Hong Kong citizens. So Britain is offering up to 3 million Hong Kong residents the chance to move to Britain and eventually gain citizenship. That goes for people who are already in Britain, but crucially, for people who hold British national overseas passports but who live in Hong Kong. These passport holders were living in Hong Kong at the time of the handover. The opportunity to move permanently to Britain is also expected to be available to the kids and dependents of those British passport holders. There will be no quota or limit on the number of people who can take that offer, and applicants will be exempt from many of Britain's normally strict immigration rules. An article I read said this about the new law. It said, "The world is entitled to be shocked by these developments, but not surprised." The world is entitled to be shocked, but not surprised. Indeed. Hey, I've noticed a number of you have found the starter membership, and that's great. I haven't publicized the starter membership much, but I've seen an uptick in members who have joined, which is fantastic. I created the starter membership a few months ago for those of you who wanted to access our translations, but who were not yet ready for Plain English Plus. The starter membership is great because it's just $7 per month, or, and this is even better, only $49 per year. So you get a huge savings if you sign up for a full year. Now, this is great for those of you who want to improve your vocabulary. It includes flashcards on Quizlet. You get 5 new words per lesson, and you can practice them on the Quizlet app. And all the words are from the lessons. And you also get our translations, which has always been one of the most popular features of Plain English Plus. Starter members can unlock a special version of the transcripts. And in this special version, about 100 words and phrases are highlighted in blue. And if you hover your mouse over the blue words, you'll see the definitions in your own language. You've probably heard me mention that we now support 9 languages this way: Spanish, Portuguese, German, Japanese, Italian, French, Chinese, Turkish, and Polish. And that's all included in the starter membership for just $7 per month or just $49 per year. You can find out more at plainenglish.com/starter. Today's expression is safe haven. A safe haven is a place of safety amid danger. A place of safety amid danger. Do you remember how you heard it before? Many people considered Hong Kong a safe haven where they could discuss political issues without fear of retribution from China. They felt it was a safe haven because it would be dangerous inside mainland China, but the rules were different in Hong Kong. Until recently, people could discuss political issues much more freely. They felt safe there, but would not have felt safe in mainland China, so they considered it a safe haven. Where else can you find a safe haven? Sometimes within a city you can find a safe haven. In a violent neighborhood, a church is often a safe haven. Whatever might happen outside, however bad it is, the violence stops just outside the church grounds. A neighborhood might be dangerous, but the church is a safe haven. Many states in the U.S. have a law that says that mothers of newborn babies can, if they feel they have no other option, leave their babies at a designated place, either a hospital or a fire station or a place like that. Workers at that safe space will call for help, and an adoption agency will find the child a permanent home. It's called a safe haven law because the mothers who leave their newborns in this way will not be prosecuted. It's not common, and it's a very sad thing. Most states with this law see this happen only a few times per year, if that. Some new mothers may be very young, they may be homeless or struggling with mental health problems or addiction. Whatever the reason, they feel they cannot go on and cannot raise their child, so they take advantage of the safe haven law. They give up their child, knowing the child will be safe and knowing they will not face prosecution. Safe haven is often used to describe investments. Many investors own stocks and bonds, shares in private companies, currencies, and other instruments. Many of these investments can rise or fall in value quickly. When there is uncertainty in the air, investors look for a safe haven. They look for a way to invest their money that is safer, less prone to big increases or decreases in value. Gold is sometimes seen as a safe haven investment. If you buy gold, you will not make a fortune from it, but you won't lose a fortune from it either. At least that's how the thinking goes. The world's most stable currencies are considered a safe haven. If you make a lot of money in Argentine pesos, you will want to have some of that fortune in a more stable currency. That's why many people want to hold euros or dollars, or they hold assets in the US or Europe. Where there is political or economic uncertainty, investors look for a safe haven. Many people in China have bought apartments in New York. They believe real estate in the United States is a safe haven. Hong Kong cartoonist Kit Man said of the new security law, quote, "A state that can be subverted by a blank piece of paper. Is it made of tofu?" The protesters were holding up blank pieces of paper to demonstrate that they couldn't tell what was legal or not, so they weren't writing anything. That itself, according to the new security forces, was a subversion of the state. So the cartoonist said, if a state can be subverted by a blank piece of paper, is it made of tofu? It's a clever point, but I think he will find they are made of sterner stuff than that. The safe haven law, by the way, figures in the TV series Little Fires Everywhere. It's on Hulu in the US, but you can find it on Amazon in most other parts of the world. It's a fantastic book, too. I won't say anything about it in case you watch, but it's a good series, and the safe haven law comes into play in that series as well. There's also a movie called Safe Haven, a romantic comedy, I think. It got 1 star on Rotten Tomatoes, so you're better off watching Little Fires Everywhere. That's all for today. Remember the starter membership if you just want to take advantage of the translations in our transcripts. It's a really great benefit, and all just $7 per month, or even better, $49 per year. You can find all the details at plainenglish.com/starter, STARTER, starter.